This is their wedding picture. Danny grew up about a block or two, on the 700? Where's Jamie?
Right here.
About 700 block, Victoria Avenue. We are on the 500 block. So, Dan decided to go down to the States, and he joined military there. What did he go into?
Air Force.
Air Force. And my sister Anne followed him down there, and they got married in Fort Worth, Texas. But I have to tell you a story before that when my sister was still a teenager, pre-Danny years, my sister had a crush on one of the ball players from St. Augustine School there. And I bet you, young people here, well, all of you, I bet you didn't know that we had texting back then. The only difference is that my sister wrote it on a piece of paper and I had to run 3 blocks to So some things change, but you know. So yeah, that was I was the go-between for her and her friend at that time.
Did you wait for the reply?
I don't think he wrote her back. Okay. This is Jamie and Elaine, and what's the dog again?
Brandy.
Brandy.
Oh, you have a dog?
Where's this taken?
That's in Montecito, California.
Okay. All right. This is fresh off the print. I just put it in here half an hour ago. This is Jamie and Elaine's wedding pictures, which I happened to be the only one at the wedding, I think, from the family. Mary was going to come, and then Gordon got sick or something. And had a fabulous wedding in Santa Barbara, and they gave me an album. That's why I had this picture. Let me just zoom in a little bit. I think it's a beautiful picture of their wedding. And a nice bouquet.
And a nice bouquet.
And, of course, since I'm doing the show, I have to get into the picture here. And I have to tell you here, this was a beginning of my putting on weight, because when we took this picture, I pulled in my stomach and held my breath and waited for the photographer. And I think it kind of shows.
No, we can't tell.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it was the last time I ever wore a sports jacket, or at least that one. You can see it's kind of buckling there over, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I had to hold my breath to take that picture. And we're back. So that's all we've got for now. Jamie had
Two children of that generation who are the only children. I'm the youngest of that generation. There's almost 30 years between Fred and I. So I was the youngest of the first generation and the eldest of the second cousins. In many ways, I had more in common with the second cousins, my cousins' kids, than I did with my cousins. But and I was also the kid from California who, when most times I came to Regina, people asked me if I surfed. But
you're the only original American.
Yeah, and I guess I'm the only one born in the States so far. So, anyway, a couple of anecdotes about my parents. In 1979, when we came back as a family, and the only trip my father made to Canada that I can remember, with me in tow, we were here for 5 weeks, which we typically did, but my dad was only here for about 10 days. And during that time, he took me to visit all of his old chums. And we came across a couple of guys, which I can't remember their names, and they asked my dad what he was doing and where he was living. And my dad said, I'm living in Santa Barbara, California. And they said, California? Why would you move to California with all those earthquakes? And I'll never forget my dad's comments, and it's apropos for this weekend. Why would you live in Regina with 60 below weather? So my father left to get away from the weather. And the other anecdote is about my mom, who many believed was studying to become a nun. She spent so much time in the Catholic Church praying that my father wouldn't meet someone after he left to move to the States when she was converting from being Greek Orthodox to Catholic. And we asked Mary this question a few years back about how my mom got to Texas and when she got to Texas, because the train was a pretty logical answer, but she arrived during Advent, and you couldn't get married during Advent in those days. As a Catholic, you had to wait till the first day after Christmas, and so they got married on the 26th. So the question is, where did my mom sleep during those days leading up to the wedding, and was it in sin? So we never got an answer from Mary on that one. But anyway, that's my parents. You know, Jean, it's funny, Jean and I see more of one another in Regina than we do in California, even though we live only an hour and a half away from one another. But we've tried to, with Mary's maybe nudging, try to reconvene the West Coast clan, which we did this February, where we made 15 dozen pierogies with Joy's help by phone, and cabbage rolls, and that's when this idea of getting the family back together in Regina sort of blossomed in Gene's head. So I have to thank him for having this happen for us. So.
It was Joanne. I just took the ball and went with it. Joanne's suggestion. She said, you know, I think it'd be nice to go to Regina and see the family. And then Jamie Elaine piped in, and they said, yeah, we wouldn't mind going. So I hesitated. But then
you don't like to travel.
Yeah, I don't like traveling. Anyway, yeah, so I phoned, and I was really impressed with how the Regina group took on the suggestion and really ran with the ball. And Tracy and Michael getting this place set up, and Tracy and I have been doing emails and so yeah, so you know, the idea started at least in California, but it brought us here for the Canadian Thanksgiving. So that's why we're here, and we're really happy to get together on a happy occasion. So.
Yay, Tracy.